It was supposed to be a simple lunch. Nothing fancy, just a quick meal before heading back to the office. The sky was overcast, rain tapping gently on the pavement as Malik Johnson pulled into the small parking lot of a well-known steakhouse on the edge of downtown. He'd passed it a dozen times before, but never stopped. Today, though, he figured he'd treat himself. After all, he just sealed the biggest client of his career. Malik wasn't flashy. No suit and tie today, just a clean black hoodie, jeans, fresh sneakers, and a silver watch that peeked out when he checked the time. He was 32, confident, composed, and well-spoken, with calm brown eyes that had seen more than they should have for someone his age. What he hadn't expected, walking through those restaurant doors, was to be reminded of how invisible a black man could feel in plain sight. As soon as Malik stepped inside, the temperature seemed to drop. The lighting was warm, the decor rustic and inviting, but something in the air shifted. Conversations paused. Forks slowed. A few heads turned and stayed turned. At first, he thought he was overthinking it. But then he saw the hostess. She stood at the podium, glancing up briefly from her tablet. Blonde, mid-40s, a plastic smile stretched across her face. "Can I help you?" she asked, in that overly polite tone that sounded more like, "What are you doing here?" "Yeah," Malik said, adjusting his sleeves casually. "Just a table for one." She looked him over slowly, like she was scanning for something out of place. "Do you have a reservation?" Malik blinked. The place was barely half full. Tables sat empty in every direction. "No, but I didn't think I needed one," he replied, still calm. The hostess hesitated. "This is more of a reservation-type establishment. We tend to stay pretty booked during the lunch hour." Malik glanced at the empty tables. "Looks like you've got plenty of space." She didn't respond, just tapped her tablet like she was looking at something, then let out a forced sigh. "I'm sorry, sir. It's going to be at least a 45-minute wait." He felt it then, that old, familiar burn. Not anger, not quite. More like disappointment dressed up as patience. "Right," he said quietly. 45 minutes. Malik turned and walked back outside. He stood under the awning for a moment, letting the rain his shoulders. Then, out of pure curiosity, he pulled out his phone and called the restaurant, right there in front of the window. The hostess picked up. "Hi," he said, using a slightly higher neutral voice. "I was wondering if you had any tables available for one. Just looking to walk in now." "Oh, absolutely," she chirped. "We've got several open. Come right in." He hung up. Malik didn't go back inside. Not yet. He waited. Less than 2 minutes later, a white man in a golf polo and khakis stepped out of a black Tesla, walked right past him, and into the restaurant. Malik leaned against a column and watched through the glass. The hostess smiled, greeted the man like he was royalty, and within seconds, she was walking him to one of the empty tables near the window. Same time, same tables, different skin. Malik didn't film it. He didn't shout. He didn't make a scene. But something inside him changed. Something that had been on a slow boil since childhood finally tipped. This wasn't just about lunch. He walked back to his car, pulled the door open, sat in silence for a while, and started writing something down on the back of an old receipt. Plan, an idea, a response. Because Malik Johnson wasn't just some guy in a hoodie. He was the CEO of a rising media company. He had 2 million followers across platforms. And more importantly, he had reach. This restaurant didn't know it yet, but they just served the wrong man the coldest meal of all. Malik didn't sleep that night. Not because of rage, but because his mind was racing. He kept replaying it, the cold welcome, the empty tables, the fake smile, and that smug little head tilt the hostess gave the white guy as she led him to a seat like he was the king of the place. He'd been through stuff before. Microaggressions, strange stares, people locking their doors when he walked past their car. But this was different. This was deliberate. So he got to work. The next morning, he sat in his home office, floor-to-ceiling bookshelves behind him, a signed poster of James Baldwin above his desk. Coffee in one hand, his phone in the other, and a plan forming in his head. He opened up his notes app and started typing a script. Not a rant, not a breakdown, but a calm, collected story. One people could feel. One they'd share without even thinking twice. 30 minutes later, he hit record. The video started with Malik staring into the camera, voice steady, face unreadable. Yesterday, I went to a steakhouse on 8th and Langston. I walked in alone, just looking for a table. I wasn't loud. I wasn't rude. I was just black. He told the story exactly as it happened. No added drama. No yelling. Just the truth, told with that quiet, uncomfortable honesty that crawls under people's skin. And when he got to the part about calling the restaurant while standing outside, he played the recording. Yes, he'd hit record on his phone the moment he walked out. Just in case. Oh, absolutely, the hostess said in the audio. We've got several open. Come right in. His caption was short and sharp. They didn't want to seat me until they thought I was someone else. He posted the video on TikTok, Instagram Reels, and YouTube Shorts all at once. And then he waited. For about an hour, nothing. Then it hit 10,000 views. Then 100,000. By the time the sun dipped below the skyline, Malik's phone was melting. DMs, comments, shares. Stitch after stitch, duet after duet. Other black men and women started sharing their stories. Similar, painful, all too familiar. But it didn't stop there. People began digging. Someone posted the name of the restaurant. Then someone else found the hostess's LinkedIn profile. A food blogger with a following in the millions stitched Malik's video and captioned it. Y'all really out here seating people based on skin color in 2025? Within 24 hours, the steakhouse's Yelp and Google reviews tanked. Their social media went private. The comments were brutal, but deserved. Malik didn't say a word. He watched. He didn't need to shout. The internet was doing it for him. But just as things reached a boiling point, something strange happened. On day 3, Malik got an email from the steakhouse's owner. Subject line, "We owe you an apology," and a conversation. He stared at it for a long moment, debating. Then he clicked. The message was surprisingly short. "Mr. Johnson, I want to sincerely apologize for what happened in our restaurant. It is unacceptable. I would like to meet with you in person. Lunch is on me. Anytime. Anywhere. Mark C. Owner." Malik wasn't sure what annoyed him more, the attempt at damage control, or the assumption that a free lunch could fix everything. But instead of replying, he posted the email. And underneath it, he wrote, "Do they want to apologize, or do they just want me to stop talking?" That post exploded even more. And this time, someone else reached out. Someone bigger. A major news network. They wanted to run the story nationally. Malik leaned back in his chair, exhaled slowly, and finally smiled. He hadn't even started telling everything yet. The offer from the news network came with a sense of weight Malik hadn't felt in a while. This wasn't just viral anymore. This was national. His phone buzzed nonstop. Every time he opened it, there were more interview requests, podcast invites, blue checks asking to talk. People who never liked, commented, or supported a single thing he did before were suddenly in his inbox, using words like powerful and important. But Malik stayed quiet for a moment. Because deep down, he knew something most people didn't. This wasn't just about one hostess in a steakhouse. It was about how easy it was for people to smile to your face while thinking they're better than you. It was about every boardroom he walked into where someone assumed he was the intern, about the time security trailed him through a store he'd been shopping at for years, about his college professor who asked if he was sure he'd written his own paper. This story had layers. So when Malik agreed to the interview, he made one thing clear. If we're going to talk, we're going to talk about all of it. The network booked a sit-down interview for Friday. Prime time. They sent a crew to his house. Lights, cameras, the works. A black woman named Tasha Miles led the segment. Her voice was warm, but her questions were sharp. Malik respected that. "Walk me through what happened, Malik," she said as the camera rolled. "From the moment you walked into that restaurant." He did. He told her everything. Again. Calm, measured. No venom in his voice, but no soft edges either. Then Tasha leaned in. "Why do you think your story connected with so many people?" Malik paused. "Because every black person watching this has been me at some point. Denied, ignored, doubted, and told in 1,000 subtle ways, you don't belong here. I just caught mine on tape." The interview aired that night. It went everywhere. Clips from the segment flooded Twitter, Instagram, even late-night shows. People were quoting him. Big-name celebrities reposted the video. One NBA star tweeted, "This brother said what needed to be said. Enough is enough." By Saturday, the restaurant was closed for staff retraining, but Malik didn't buy it. Because behind the scenes, something else was happening. Quite ugly. He got a call from his assistant, Carmen, just after midnight. "Malik, someone's trying to dig up dirt on you." He blinked. "What?" "I got a tip. A small blog is about to publish a hit piece. They're claiming you were rude to the hostess, that you came in aggressive and refused to follow protocol." Malik let out a low laugh, humorless and tired. Of course, they couldn't argue with the facts, so now they'd go after him. He checked the blog Carmen mentioned. Sure enough, there it was, an anonymous source claiming Malik had cursed at the hostess and seemed threatening. No video, no proof, just words. It didn't gain much traction, but it was enough to piss him off. They couldn't just apologize. They had to reframe the story, make him the villain. Typical. Still, Malik didn't respond. He had a better idea. The next day, he posted a new video. This one wasn't just for his followers. It was for the restaurant, the media, the fake sources, everyone. He sat in front of the camera and said, "I didn't tell this story for attention. I told it because I'm tired. And I'm not just tired for me. I'm tired for every kid who walks into a store and gets followed. For every black woman who's called aggressive for standing her ground. For every person of color who's ever been told, without a word, you don't deserve to be here. And let me be real clear about something. I don't need your free lunch. I don't need your PR statements. I want change. Real change." The clip cut off there. But the internet picked it up and ran wild. Hashtag "We Deserve to Be Here" started trending by nightfall. People began sharing their own stories, videos, essays, tweets about being mistreated, profiled, or humiliated for simply existing in their skin. It became a movement. But with movements come enemies. And as Malik would soon learn, some people weren't just trying to silence him. They wanted to destroy him. The messages started small. At first, it was just weird DMs from faceless accounts. "You're overreacting," or "You're just playing the race card." Malik was used to that. Standard hate mail. Background noise. But then it escalated. One morning, he opened his inbox to find an email with no subject, no name, just a screenshot of his home address and the words, "You need to stop." That one made his hands go cold. He stared at the screen, not moving, not blinking. He'd lived in that neighborhood for 5 years. Quiet, safe, or so he thought. Carmen told him to call the police, and he did, but even the officer who came by didn't seem too interested. "Might just be an internet troll," the guy said, scratching his neck. "Still, keep your doors locked." Malik nodded. But he knew better. This wasn't some random troll. This was someone who felt threatened, not by violence, but by truth. And they wanted to shut him up before he said more. The irony? They were doing the exact opposite. Every attack made Malik louder. He booked a spot on another major talk show, sat next to a congresswoman who quoted his story during a speech on systemic racism. His following exploded, millions now. People showed up at the restaurant's location with protest signs, chanting his name. But behind the scenes, the restaurant wasn't going down quietly. Mark, the owner, released a statement through his lawyer, claiming that his staff had received death threats and that Malik had exaggerated the situation to gain followers. He even accused Malik of orchestrating the video for attention. That same night, a local conservative outlet ran with a headline. Was this viral racism story a hoax? Malik stared at his phone, mouth tight. They were gaslighting him. Again. He clicked record. The video that followed was simple. No fancy editing. No music. Just Malik, tired, raw, unfiltered. "Let me ask y'all something," he began, voice low. "Why is it that every time a black person speaks the truth, it's just for attention? Why is it that every time we get mistreated, it has to be a hoax? A misunderstanding? Why do we have to be perfect for our pain to be taken seriously?" He paused, jaw clenched. "I didn't fake anything. I didn't want followers. I wanted dinner. The video hit harder than anything he'd posted before. Even some of the skeptics fell silent. But then came the final blow. An anonymous former employee from the steakhouse reached out, first to Carmen, then to a reporter. She wanted to talk. She'd seen everything, heard everything, and she had receipts, old chat logs between staff members, emails, comments from the manager about keeping the place upscale and not looking like a bus stop. Worse yet, she claimed there were instructions, unwritten but clear, to avoid seating certain people during peak hours. People who looked like Malik. The reporter verified her story, confirmed the screenshots. It was all real. Malik met her in person the next day. She looked nervous, tapping her foot under the table. But her voice didn't shake. "I didn't say anything before because I needed that job," she said. "But I saw what they did to you, and I couldn't stay quiet anymore." Malik thanked her. Then he asked, "Why now?" She looked up. "Because you didn't just speak up. You didn't back down." He left the meeting with a flash drive full of proof. And as he held it in his hand, he realized something. They tried to paint him as a liar. But now he had the truth. And the next move was his.